Florida loses to Utah. Final score 11-24. I don't know about scoregami, but what do we make of this game if you're a Gator fan? If you're Utah, found a way to get it done at home, no Cam Rising. I think you got to tip your cap to them if you're a Gator fan and say, at the end of the day, it's a really good football team. It's a well-coached football team. Even with the guys they didn't have in the lineup, that's an experienced football team. But if you're looking in the mirror right now for Billy Napier and company, what do you make of the tape? It's not always as bad as it is. It's never as good as it looks if you win. So let's kind of try and find our footing here and unpack this just a little bit. First things first, we're talking only college football all year round. Live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern on this very platform, the On3 YouTube channel, is this show, The Hard Count. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JD Piquel to stay up with all that we got going here. Appreciate you in advance for that. So, we got good news, we got bad news coming off last night's situation for Florida, off that unfortunate circumstance that you found yourself in by your own account in Salt Lake City. So the good news is, I feel like we don't actually know what this Florida team is. And the obvious part of this is, yeah, that's one data point. So yes, of course, we still are going to figure them out throughout the course of the season. But I mean, like last night, I don't think we even got to see the talent that you have on your roster because things got so wacky early. I mean, Bryson Barnes steps in there, deals a touchdown to Money Parks, pops the top on the defense and all that. But after they took that shot, like the defense kind of found their footing. They played a lot better, but you just could not get out of your own way, which kind of leads us to the bad news. Like, I don't think what you saw yesterday was representative of all that Florida is capable of because of the guys they have on that roster. It wasn't like we just got totally out-talented if we're in Florida. Now, again, going to the bad news. You basically could not get out of your own way. You couldn't find your own footing. We get down to the low red. We got a short yardage fourth down we're going to go for. We jump. 4th and 6. We're kicking a field goal. Missed the field goal. Hey, great stop defense. Awesome. Way to get off the field on 3rd down. They're going to punt it away. We got 2 dudes out there with the same jersey number. 1st down, they go and get a touchdown. Like, that would just, 1, drive you crazy as a fan. 2, that staff has to be absolutely just kicking themselves this morning. And I tweeted it out. That's going to be a very brutal practice on Monday in Gainesville, I would have to imagine. It also has to be a pretty intense coaches meeting. Like, guys, we're having year 1 mistakes in year 2. I understand it's a tough place to play. I don't want to discount that it was a difficult atmosphere, I'm sure, to play. Raucous environment, Thursday night, the eyes of the country on you. It's the big game of that day to start off week 1 of the college football season. But even so, that did not look like an organization that had had a full year under their belt and was now looking to go and try and build off of what they did a season ago. It wasn't a physical issue. It wasn't a matter of Florida just being outmatched up. And there were things that they didn't have every single matchup, but you didn't really get to see those because what we said couldn't happen for Florida in this game happened right away. We said going in, if you're Florida, you got a backup quarterback playing against you. You got to go after him, got to make him uncomfortable. Bryson Barnes, in my opinion, never looked uncomfortable. Going in at the half, it's 17-3 Utah, and immediately Florida is out of their game plan. Because we said Florida right away, they want to control the game, they want to run the football, they want to be able to sort of utilize the field position part of things and not beat themselves, and that was the exact opposite of what happened. Florida's leading rusher was Trevor Etienne, 7 carries, 25 yards. If you told me going into the week that Graham Mertz was going to throw for over 300 yards, I'd say, geez, how many points did they score? But then in the next breath, if you said, well, he had 44 attempts, I'm saying, oh boy, what happened? What situation are we in where Graham Mertz has to throw the ball around 44 times? And there's going to be a lot of talk about Graham Mertz, and I think that's fine. Like, I understand you're the quarterback of a very visible brand in college football. You're going to be a talking point. I wasn't, honestly, underwhelmed by him at all. I thought he did a good job being in the position he was in, but they just could not get out of their own way. Him having to throw the ball 44 times tells us, I think, all we need to know. Florida was never able to really get into plan A. Utah forced them into plan B, and Florida could not execute. Period. Mic drop. The end. So you look at last night and say, we did not bring our best. We did not bring our brand of football to the table. And you credit Utah, but you also look in the mirror and say, that's not even close to what we think we can accomplish. And so what I want to make sure we get out in front of here is, Let's not define a team in week one. Let's not define Florida from a week one loss on a Thursday on the road at a back-to-back Pac-12 champion team. Yes, it's a backup quarterback. I understand that, but that's a really good, really experienced team, well-coached team. You're living in third and long the majority of the night. Like, let's not define Florida based on one data point. Because last year, when Utah comes to the Swamp and Florida beats them, remember how we talked about Florida that next day? We're talking about AR maybe being a Heisman guy. We're talking about Florida and what they could do in the SEC and all that, and what Billy Napier is at Florida. And like, Florida went out and won 6 games. So what I want to make sure we remember is it is very easy for us to overreact based on what we see in week one, because that's the only data point we have. But we got to understand now, we got 11 more data points coming our way. And so what I'm watching now for Florida is, okay, what you saw week one, not at all representative of what we want to do here. How do we respond? Like, at this point now, there's a lot to clean up, a lot that you can control that you got to clean up. I look at the leaders in that locker room. I look at a Trahadra Mitchell. I look at a Graham Mertz. I look at that coaching staff and say, okay, what do we do now to respond? You go Tennessee at home, week 3, and then you take the show on the road and play at Kentucky week 5. Those are the 2 I'm watching where I cannot wait to see how this Florida team responds to a little bit of adversity. And credit them, last night, had a couple opportunities to pack it in. Never saw that from them. So for Florida, still feel like we really just do not know who they are. Unfortunate showing in week 1. Unfortunate that's your one data point you have on them right now. But to the exact same token, still do not know who this Florida team is going to be in 2023. The script is very much unwritten. And you, at the end of the day, tip your hat to Utah and say, that's a really good football team. I don't care who wasn't in the lineup for them. That's a well-coached football team. They're further along than us. Let's figure it out going forward. So, how do they respond? I can't wait to watch. That's the beautiful part of college football being back on our television screens. Make sure you're locked in right here. Football every single day, college football every single day, and we appreciate y'all so much for locking in and being a part of it. We have got more content coming your way Sunday morning. This is kind of a pseudo Friday sprint, if you will. We had action last night, so I want to talk about it this morning. We have a ton more content coming Sunday morning. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. We're probably talking about your team if we're not talking about them already. All right, we're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.